What's going on, Green Teamers? You're watching Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Tyler Smith, and on today's show, we got some Celtics news to discuss. Some pretty big news for Celtics fans. The ownership change that we know is coming a little bit sooner than expected, the transfer of power between Wyc Grousbeck and Bill Chisholm. Well, that ownership change has been made official. What does it mean for the Boston Celtics and their future? We'll get into that in just a moment. And some battles are emerging as the Celtics roster has gotten shaken out. We're going to do a little bit of a roster breakdown on the back half of today's show and show you guys what the rotation might look like for 25-26. But before we get into that on today's show, go down below and hit that thumbs up icon if you enjoy the program here at Celtics Today. We're trying to break a record on today's show. The most likes that we've gotten this month, in the month of August, is 399. That just grinds my gears. Can we just get 400 likes on today's show? Can we beat that record on today's edition of Celtics Today? Go down below and smash that thumbs up icon if you love the C's. Alrighty, here is the official statement from the Boston Celtics. I'm not going to read it out to you guys in full, but a couple of notes here that I was unsure of back in the day when we first heard about this ownership change. Aditya Mittal, the other alternate governor here between Wyc Grousbeck, is going to be assuming that position pretty immediately. That was something that we had heard could be a possibility down the road, but there are now two alternate governors in the Celtics ownership group. Bill Chisholm will assume the governor role and really be the last line of defense on all decisions, but Wyc Grousbeck and Aditya Mittal will serve as alternate governors as well. And there's a big group of ownership stakeholders that we will talk about in just a little bit. But Chisholm said it's a dream come true. He was born and raised in Boston. He's been a long-time fan, and I'm pretty excited to see what the next era of Celtics basketball looks like under his helm. Now, if you're going to take any quote away from this long press release, it's this one right here, and it's Bill Chisholm saying basically the mission statement for the Boston Celtics in their future. We are committed to building on the legacy of the Celtics and raising banners. That's the only statement that you need to hear. This is a winning organization. This is an organization that has a standard of winning championships. And Bill Chisholm recognizes that. He became a fan back during the Larry Bird and Kevin McHale days. So, I'm not going to question who this guy is as a fan. He said, I can't wait for this team to get back out there this fall. Now, if there's any Celtics fans that have concerns, because look, Wyc Grousbeck literally stole money from his father to be able to put together a championship level team for the Celtics back in 2024. If you guys have some concerns about Bill Chisholm and him potentially being a cheap owner, because there are rightful concerns, right? This is his first foray into sports and owning a team at all. So, he's never really done this before. Is he going to see some, the numbers get in the reds a little bit, and is he going to, get cold feet and want to, sell the farm and blow things up quicker than maybe they need to end up going? That is rightfully a concern, but this is a passionate guy, man. This is a guy who said, I'm a Celtics fan. He's a guy who's wearing a Tatum jersey over his button-down courtside during the postseason. He's going to be involved. He's going to be clapping it up. He's going to be, I wouldn't say Steve Ballmer-esque, but he's going to be very involved and very animated as a Celtics fan, rooting his team on and doing whatever it takes to put them in a position to win championships. So I will not question the passion and the fandom of Bill Chisholm as he assumes the position of governor here for the Boston Celtics. I'm pretty pumped. What's your confidence level in Bill Chisholm as the new governor in Beantown? Scale for me down in the comment section, 1 through 10. New ownership, it can get scary, I know, but I'm very, very confident that things are going to turn out pretty well. Scale for me down in the comment section, 1 through 10, your confidence level in Bill Chisholm. Alrighty, let's go to the rest of the new ownership group here, because I think it's interesting that the Celtics have a pretty wide array of stakeholders here on their new ownership group. So talking about Bill Chisholm here, he obviously got into his fortune from private equity and all that stuff. So this is his first foray into owning any type of stake in sports, and he's going to be the majority owner and assume that governor position. So he's going to be making all of the major decisions. Now, you have Wyc Grousbeck still there as alternate governor and CEO, essentially the right-hand man of Bill Chisholm here, and he's still going to be, kind of a, liaison or just a senior advisor in a way. He assumes the role of CEO as well, so that's going to be interesting. It's kind of just a title thing. He's still involved in the rooms when decisions are being made, but Bill Chisholm has the final say-so. And then Aditya Mittal is also going to be that alternate governor. He's got a big steel and oil business with his father. That's how he got his fortune. And then you got guys like Bruce Beal, Andrew Bilecki, Dan Ferrante, Rob Hale, Mario Ho, Ian Loring, and Sixth Street, an investment firm as well. So it's a collective group that's going to own about 12.5% of the Celtics here. So we have a wide array of investors and stakeholders. There's going to be a bunch of people that want decisions made one way or the other, but the final line of defense is Bill Chisholm. This is Bill Chisholm's team from here on out. And I'm excited to see what that looks like. Look, I don't think there's going to be a situation where he's going to blow up the roster. Like, he's going to ask to trade Jaylen Brown because the books are too high. We can't pay 2 Supermax players, nothing like that. This guy wants to see good basketball out there on the floor, and that includes this season. He said this about the upcoming campaign for the C's. He said, we've got a really solid core for this roster. We've got, I think, the best basketball people that there are, and we've got a really talented business operations team. And then we've got a leader like Wick. I mean, why would you go to make major changes to that? I think there are things we can always improve on, but this is a really, really good place to start. Now, how much does he really talk about the roster and how that looks and what the on-court product is going to be in 2025, 2026, especially with Jason Tatum missing what I presume to be the entire season? I'm not too optimistic about a return next year. So we're going to talk about that in just a moment. What's this roster going to look like? What's the rotation going to look like for the C's? We'll talk about it in just a moment. But first, get hooked up with this awesome deal, like this one right here, where the Tatum jerseys are like ridiculously discounted at this link right here, chatsports.com/Tatum shirt. I couldn't believe it when I saw this. This is the normal Celtics jersey, the ones that they're not getting rid of, the ones they haven't gotten rid of for 100 years. I don't know why this is discounted, so go take advantage of this deal. Chatsports.com/Tatum shirt. It's going to be something you can wear all year long for the rest of your life. Boston 0, Tatum. It's going to go up in the rafters one day. Get it at this link again, chatsports.com/Tatum shirt. It's in the comment section and description of today's video, so go click it and get yourself dripped out in some Tatum gear right now. Alrighty, so this is what the graphic I've been showing you guys for the past couple weeks. If you watch the show, if you don't, hit that subscribe button. Here is the starting 5 that I would guess goes out there on day one. I think with Neemias Queta being at that center position, the one with the most familiarity in this Celtics organization, it's going to cause for some, at least philosophical differences when it comes to how they throw out a 5, how they play offense. And I think that's going to cause them to play double big to start the season. And I'm guessing, in all sense of the words, Chris Boucher is who I have slotted at that power forward spot. But the ones we know cemented right now are Jaylen Brown and Derek White. There are big-time rumors, though, about Peyton Pritchard being your Celtics starting point guard for this upcoming season. If we can look at who else is playing point guard for the C's, it's not many. There's a big-time competition. I would say the biggest competition for a true starting spot here between Peyton Pritchard and Anthony Simons. And many of you guys would probably say that Simons is a better basketball player, a more skilled talent than Peyton Pritchard is, but he has earned that spot. He has the familiarity. And I think this could signal that the Celtics have faith in Peyton Pritchard as a starting point guard moving forward. Derek White obviously going to handle the ball a little bit as well, but I'm very excited to see the Celtics have two ball-dominant players in Pritchard and Simons and have Derek White run a little bit more off of the ball this upcoming season. And like I mentioned about Peyton Pritchard being the starting point guard here, the positioning and the rumors of him being over Simons on the depth chart signals a little bit more to me than just the faith in Peyton Pritchard. Yes, I'm sure the Celtics are super thankful with the production and what Peyton Pritchard's got, grinded for them over the past couple of years, but it could also signal that they just don't have a long-term commitment in Anthony Simons. They want to have a guy in that spot starting, getting those reps, getting that experience. That's going to be a part of this thing for the long run. Peyton Pritchard has a bunch more years left on that awesome value contract. Anthony Simons done an expiring deal, and there's already been rumors about them shopping him after making that trade back in June, and I think those are going to continue into next season. So it's probably right to assume that Pritchard is going to be the starting man at the 1 for your C's. Let's move on to shooting guards here for the Celtics. And I understand, we're going point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, center. Basketball is super positionless, but we're not going to be running Xavier Tillman here at the 2. Derek White is going to be starting at that 2 spot. We know that's set in stone, and you still have Anthony Simons there at your backup 2. And I put him there because he's going to be your 6th man. I'm sure Pritchard might come off the bench first, but there's going to be some nights maybe that Derek White comes off of the bench, at least sits first, and Simons goes and slots there, and he runs Pritchard and Simons together. Defensively, I don't know how that would go, but I'm sure that they'll experiment, especially early in the season. You got Baylor Shireman there at the shooting guard 3. You could see him reappear at the 3 spot as well, but he's going to slot in and probably carry a lot of ball handling duties off of the bench. Hugo Gonzalez, how much is he really going to play in year 1? I'm not so sure. And then I have Jaylen Brown slotted at shooting guard 5. If they wanted to run a super big lineup, maybe something along the lines of Boucher and Queta down low, and then Sam Hauser at the 3, and then maybe you throw, Jaylen Brown at the 2 with one of the ball handlers up top at the 1. But I don't expect many minutes from Jaylen Brown at the shooting guard position. We're going to move on to small forwards here in just a second, but the C's have a lot of depth at the best, in the backcourt this upcoming year. Like, the addition of Simons, I think cannot be understated, and I think that he is going to end up looking like a steal, and they're all going to end up raising his trade value as the season goes on. He's going to get a lot of minutes, and I'm sure that they're going to play him, 25 to 30 minutes a night. He's going to get his 18 to 20 points on, I hope, pretty efficient shooting, and hopefully ends up, playing some better defense than he's ever played in his career. So I expect Simons to be that trade chip as the year goes on, but he's going to produce a lot, especially on the offensive end, immediately for the C's. Let's move on to small forwards here, where Jaylen Brown's that's where he's going to get the bulk of his minutes, guys. He's going to be playing 35 to 40 minutes a night, especially early on in the year. We'll see how the season ends up going. But JB is going to be your man for the C's this year. He's going to be averaging 25-plus every single night, and I'm expecting him to take a couple big leaps in a couple areas this year because he's going to be dominating the ball too. He's going to be dribbling the hell out of the basketball this year, so I'm going to need to see a tighter handle, and I'm going to see a little bit of a playmaking leap from him as well. Off of the bench, your first wing off of the bench is going to be Sam Hauser. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. They seem to be very invested in him long term, and he's on that really, really good deal as well, making about $10 to $11 million a season. Shireman will also get some run at the 3 as well, but expect him to have the ball in his hands when he's running this position. I would like him better as a catch-and-shoot guy, but the Celtics like to run him in that pick-and-roll as well. Jordan Walsh is a name that we could see if the Celtics want to run a little bit of a bigger lineup as well. He's super long and can guard multiple positions. I'm looking for him to take an offensive lead this year. How much of an opportunity will he get with the Celtics back end looking pretty crowded there with Minot and a couple other guys? We will see, but Jordan Walsh, he'll be a guy for sure this Celtics season. We're going to move on to the power forwards here, but the Celtics and then their small forward group, I think it's good. They're going to get at least we're going to know what Baylor Shireman is at the end of this season, whether it's minutes at the 2, whether it's minutes at the 3. We're going to know what he is at the end of the year, whether he's a long-term player for this team. So I'm excited for the opportunity that he's going to get. We'll see how much Jordan Walsh ends up getting because he kind of slots in at that 4th power forward spot as well. I have Boucher obviously at the power forward 1, Sam Hauser at the power forward 2, coming off of the bench there, and that could flip-flop, honestly, guys. Hauser could absolutely start at the 4 for your C's, and then you got Minot there and Walsh kind of competing for that last forward spot off of the bench if the Celtics are going to run that 10-man rotation. I got JB there slotted at the power forward 5 in case the Celtics want to run a smaller lineup and have him spread out there and guard some of the bigger players down low. So those are your 4s, and we're going to move on to the centers here in just a moment, but the power forward spot is intriguing. It's all going to depend on how Joe Mazzulla wants to play his brand of basketball. If he wants to go big some nights, he's going to run Boucher. If he wants to spread the floor a little bit more consistently, he's going to go with Sam Hauser. And we'll see who they end up rolling out there on night 1. Let's go to the centers here, where we have Neemias Queta starting at the center 1. Luka Garza right off of the bench there, and that's going to be a matchup-dependent thing as well. I could see Luka Garza getting some starts here based on matchups during the season. He's going to be your more offensively gifted guy, your better post player, your more reliable outside shooter. Neemias Queta is probably not going to operate too far outside of the paint, and Luka Garza can kind of give you a different skill set there. Boucher in some small ball lineups can definitely run the center as well. And then you have Amari Williams there on the 2-way deal. We'll see how many opportunities he gets for the main Celtics roster. But those are your positions right now for the C's, and I kind of think that's how the depth is going to shake out. You also have some Exhibit 10 deals on the roster. I'm not so sure these guys are even going to have a chance at making the team. We'll see them all on the main Celtics this next season. But as it stands right now, I think the C's, especially early on in the season, could roll with a 10-man rotation. This is what it's going to look like. Pritchard, White, Brown, Boucher, and you could swap Boucher or Hauser in that starting 5, and Neemias Queta is going to round it out. And then Anthony Simons, one of Boucher or Hauser, Baylor Shireman, Luka Garza, and Josh Minot and Jordan Walsh will be your rotation to start. I expect Hugo Gonzalez to probably get a lot of run with the main Celtics this year, even though he's not on that 2-way contract. I'm sure they'll send him down. He just doesn't seem ready for big-time NBA minutes at this point. So this is the rotation I have. We'll see how many guys that Joe Mazzulla ends up playing. It could end up being an 11 or 12-man rotation, especially early on in the season, just to give some guys some opportunities and see what they have on the back end of the rotation. So with that being said, play some 2K with me right now. Give the 25-26 Celtics an NBA 2K rating. Scale it for me, 0 through 99. If you guys think it's a 99, then I got some news for you. I probably wouldn't go that far, but I think it could be somewhere in the 80s. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. Make sure you do follow me over on social media as well. We can keep the conversation going. Hit me up on Twitter at Tyler J. Smith. 2 H's because the name's pretty common. And make sure you are subscribed to the channel. That will do it for today's edition of Celtics Today by Chat Sports. We'll keep you guys tapped in with all the latest Celtics news and rumors all off season long. We'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, let's go C's.